Come on, Barbie.
Let's go party?
It's that time of the year again, folks. 2023. That doesn't make any sense. So at this point, I've started a tradition of releasing a year-end movie ranking video more than 6 months after the end of said year. Mostly because the thought of making something so comprehensive is too daunting, and so I don't even start until June. But also because I consciously put it off so I can have time to see a few more movies from the last year to include in the video. But this year, I'm breaking that trend. If this video doesn't come out by the end of January 2024, you have my permission to slap me in the face. Yeah, so that's not gonna happen. There's gonna be a few less movies than the last 2 years' videos because I've been especially busy with school and also summer study abroad programs where I wasn't allowed to watch any English media. But I still want to give 2023's film roster the time of day because, as always, we have some cinematic slappers and some steaming garbage also. As always, I'm Jonah Who from Jonah Who, and you're watching Jonah Who. Let's get into it. The Flash is a death sandwich. I don't even know what that means. I've been thinking a lot about why DC's attempts at building a cinematic universe like Marvel have been so embarrassing. Because aside from the movies just being worse...
What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
Keep my wife's name!
There's something about DC's characters that just don't go together. Independently, heroes like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are probably way more iconic and well-known than some of Marvel's guys. But so far, the DCEU has not proved to me in any way that these characters have any business sharing a universe together. They might actually be too cartoonish to work together like Marvel movies do. And maybe if the movies were more cartoonish, this would be less of a problem, but DC is always taking itself so goddamn seriously. The backdrops are almost always bland and the visual equivalent of chewing on cardboard, as if less color equals more gooder. Can Marvel's excessive CGI-ery get a bit sloppy? Yes, but at least they're trying. At least they're trying to show us something. The climax of The Flash takes place in a super flat Minecraft world. Are you for real with this shit? What am I supposed to latch onto here? The dirt? And of course this scene is in broad-ass daylight when there could have at least been some shadow to enhance the sadness of Michael Keaton's death a little bit. Every other scene is in dark for no reason. What changed? And that's not to mention that the stakes suck and nothing about the plot makes any sense. And I'm well aware that the imagination must be suspended, quite a fair deal for these types of movies, but it contradicts its own rules to such a blatant extent that it's mind-boggling. Like at the end, spoilers I guess, at the end Barry realizes that messing with the flow of time is a bad idea and he has to go back in time and undo what he did, and in doing so lose the chance to ever see his mom again. The whole movie has been building up to this, and it's an okay character moment, all things considered. So he runs back to the day of his mom's death, says goodbye, undoes his change, changes something else, and then the movie wait! He changes something else? Is that not also gonna mess up some stuff? So you've sort of undone the whole sacrifice Barry just did, and also undone the whole logic of the movie by making him lose one parent, and then getting the other one back. You're right back at square one. It's truly preposterous. Anyway, 4 out of 10, because it's still kind of funny, I guess. The Little Mermaid. So here's the thing with this one. I walked into the theater about 20 minutes late because the bus took too long. And also this was while I was in Spain, so I only understood about half the dialogue. So you might say I shouldn't really get to have an opinion because I didn't really watch the movie, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I would have had the exact same experience either way. Actually, if anything, I'll be a better reviewer because I didn't have to listen to Aquafina the whole time.
Remember the swamp? Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, wham, take a wham.
Speaking of which, I think the scuttlebutt may actually be the most unbearable combination of sounds ever concocted. And I'm not even being funny.
Wake up, wake up, wake up!
One of the first things I saw when I was catching up on the month of the internet I missed was people complaining about Awkwafina's scuttle. And I don't even hate Awkwafina, I think she was pretty okay in Raya and the Last Dragon. But like, why is she rapping?
Our little Ariel's marriage material, time for the rice and the dress and the what do you call it?
Like, it's legitimately so hard to listen to. What is this doing in a remake of one of the most iconic movie musicals of all time? There's not even any reason to have this song here. It's just Scuttle telling Ariel a thing that she saw, but like, in song form. And combining the vocals of Awkwafina with the lyrics of low-tier Lin-Manuel Miranda, it's actual ear torture.
But those are just urban legends. I know a lot of really fat pigeons.
Scuttle.
Will you just listen, Sebastian?
The rest of it's actually fine, though. 6 out of 10.
The gossip, the buzz, the who said what, who does that, yeah, the
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I don't really know what to say about this one, except it's fine. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit if the visual effects are a bit unpolished. Like, I understood what they were showing me. Like, literally as long as your movie looks better than Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Not for reals.
I'm not gonna be complaining about it. I also don't think the script was that bad. Sure, the forced rewrites are obvious in the way Scott and Hope are for no reason at all able to go right back through the portal even though they just played this moment like it was some sort of sacrifice. But it had decent world building, decent action, funny jokes, so if this is the stepping stone we need to get to the next big upcoming Thanos level confrontation, so be it. 7 out of 10. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. I refuse to believe that this and Guardians 3 independently chose to use No Sleep Till Brooklyn in the final slow-mo battle scene with Chris Pratt. James Gunn, you shameless copycat. Anyway, what we have here is a pretty not terrible movie with the bare minimum amount of story needed to even qualify as a movie. But funnily enough, it is elevated simply by virtue of it not being that bad. Chris Pratt was not that bad. The script was not that bad. The ways they incorporated meta references were funny. The animation was actually pretty fucking sick, I'll say it. And don't even get me started on Peaches, dude. That song is actually so good, and it shouldn't be, but it is. Peaches! 7 out of 10. Asteroid City. Listen, I gotta love with you. I never know what to say about Wes Anderson films. I just never fully understand them, and so a lot of the time I just nod and smile and agree with people who praise his work, like The Emperor in His Clothes or whatever. Like, I enjoy them usually, his cinematography is cool to look at, and his character interactions are usually pretty entertaining, but I don't get it. And you know what? I'm not even gonna pretend to. Wes Anderson takes like 5 viewings to fully absorb every detail, because the dialogue flies by and he really leaves it up to you to connect the dots. So I'm just reviewing this movie based on the vibes. The whole premise, the whole setting was comfy, it was cozy, it was cute. I very much enjoyed watching this ensemble cast dick around in their tiny roadside town. I think it was fucking hilarious that they got Jeff Goldblum just to be inside that alien suit. And I found the framing device really interesting, but as I said before, I'd probably have to watch the movie a couple more times to fully understand what the fuck it means. Just keep doing you, Western. That's his full name, Western Anderson. Anyway, 7 out of 10. Five Nights at Freddy's. Movie has game theory and a Corey Kenshin best thing ever. 10 out of 10. No, I really enjoyed this thing. Not even because I'm a huge FNAF head. I never actually played any of the games, and compared to people like MatPat, I literally know nothing about the lore. Some of the acting performances weren't the best I've ever seen.
You may have forgotten your loyalties, but I assure you, they have not.
But other than that, I love the sets, the look of the animatronics, the scaries, the deaths. It was written and shot in a way that balanced horror and childlike innocence pretty well. It really just made me unsettled the whole time in the way psychological thrillers are supposed to. And seriously though, the Corey Kenshin cameo had me screaming, dude.
Look away, guys. Everything will be okay if we can... What? What happened?
7 out of 10. The Marvels. This was a very fun concept for an action movie that they executed pretty well, actually. Again, writing issues aside, because it does have them, I just don't feel like mentioning them. The action is cool and inventive, the jokes are funny, the CGI is good enough, and the central dynamic between Kamala, Monica, and Carol is compelling. And another great MCU passing the torch story that I'm still here for. 7 out of 10. Well, I'm happy to report that Elemental is actually good. Although I certainly wouldn't blame you for thinking otherwise. Opposites react. First of all, what does that mean? In a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together, a fiery young woman and a go-with-the-flow guy will... Oh my god, it's so bad. Will discover something elemental.
He said it! He said it!
How much they have in common. Some of the dialogue is very cliche and extremely cringe.
Fire and water cannot be together.
And I, as an immigrant, hold this view because antagonizing people outside our cultural space is one of the only defense mechanisms we have to combat racism and discrimination here in Element City. This is a metaphor, remember?
Holy dewdrop!
As it turned out, the plot was quite predictable. By which I mean I literally predicted the plot about 6 months before the movie came out. Let me kind of predict what this movie's gonna be, right? So her, Ember, because she's like the only fire person in this entire woman at this entire thing. She's probably like a social outcast or something. Maybe she's like destructive, and then she meets Waterboy, but then it's gonna be like a forbidden romance thing. But in the end, so like they're not gonna be able to touch until like the end when something magical is gonna happen and they're gonna be able to touch each other. Some of the decisions the characters make are blood-boilingly stupid. Like, why the hell would you fix a broken dam with glass? So with everything that went wrong in the execution here, I totally understand if you thought this was mid as hell, but I still cried at the end. I'm only human over here. It's just that the central struggle of Ember with her old immigrant dad really got through to me. That internal conflict of wanting to chase your own aspirations while also doing everything you can to make your parents proud is so real. And I've heard so many stories about that from my parents and grandparents who came from China and Korea to start new lives in America. So yeah. Oh, and of course the animation. The animation is sick as fuck. Overall, I just think this is a really adorable little movie that I think flew under a lot of people's radar. And I talk a little bit more about why in the Who Reviews episode for this movie, so go check that out if you want. 7 out of 10. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Okay, so the thing about the Missions Impossible is that I really couldn't give less of a shit about Tom Cruise's character. I mean, Ethan Hunt? It's not even a cool name. Like, the actor playing the spy literally has a more spy-sounding name than his character. But, like, the movies are still fire as fuck. Which maybe is the point. I see no problem with focusing more on cool spy stuff than story as long as the cool spy stuff is cool. And it's cool. That fucking train scene with the piano, ooh, That's good stuff. Like, you set up some stakes within the movie, don't rely too heavily on the story from past installments, and bada bing bada boom, you're ready to rock and roll. Now, I always get a bit confused when people in movies start talking about politics and world affairs and stuff like that, which I know is probably more of a me problem, but this movie did unfortunately leave me wondering at several points why any of this mattered. Overall though, very good spy movie, and Tom Cruise is a very handsome boy. 8 out of 10. Poor Things. Couple things I'll say about this one. It's really intriguing, genuine, and probably most of all, funny. Every actor in this movie is extremely dedicated to their performances. Hell, I almost forgot that this was Cruella de Vil and the Hulk. I'm a huge fan of the set design, the Wes Anderson adjacent colors, the weird music, and the crazy wardrobe that make the whole movie feel like a dream or an acid trip. I'm not really sure which one. The point is, it really is a transcendent experience with a strong central journey of discovery tying it all together. However, if you're thinking right now, hey, this sounds like a good, wholesome movie, I should go see it with my kids. It isn't, and don't. Now, I'm generally of the opinion that the situations in which explicit nudity is necessary to a movie's story are pretty much non-existent, especially like this much of it, because the only thing you're doing is making your art less accessible to the general population. Like, I'm almost certain that if the dildos in Everything Everywhere All at Once were replaced with some other long floppy object, it would not be rated R, and way more people would have been inclined to give it a watch. And even though there were just so many sex scenes in this movie, it somehow isn't the reason I keep thinking about it. The storytelling is just that strong. I mean, you have to be so confident in your artistic vision to go through with something like this, so mad respect to Yorgos and Emma and Mark and everyone else, okay? Wow. People in Europe pretty much don't give a shit about nudity anyway, so who am I to judge it on that front? 8 out of 10. I heard someone point out that not only are both Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer and Thanos associated with mass genocide, but they both hate Robert Downey Jr. So I was really hoping this movie would have a line like,
"This bomb is too weak. There's no way it's gonna be powerful enough to force a surrender." The bomb's right behind me, isn't it?
Real talk though, I love Chris Nolan's original stuff, but the 2 times he's tackled historical events, I gotta say, I was less pumped about it. Because you're obviously not gonna have time travel, or alien planets, or spinning hallways, or clown, or even any sort of action scenes. The story of the physicist who created the atom bomb doesn't exactly give you many opportunities for that. And of course, I'm not holding that against Chris Nolan, it's just a different movie. That doesn't make it bad. Like, I did enjoy it. It was super well made. The acting and writing was fantastic. The sets and costumes really immersed me in it as a period piece. The music had me floating in the astral plane. The sound design was really good, although I'm pretty sure the theater I saw this in turned their speakers up way too goddamn loud, because there were several points in this movie where my eardrums literally felt like they were going to explode.
Just like an atom bomb. I get it. Did you get it? Because it's like...
I just have to say, it may have dragged on a little long with some of those extended court hearing scenes, but it still felt high stakes and kept my attention for the most part. 8 out of 10. I kind of feel like an idiot putting Mithrigan above Oppenheimer. Like, oh, baby doesn't like long movie with old people talking, but likes not long movie with dancing murder doll. But you know what, I can do whatever I want. I'm an adult, legally. Mithrigan is actually a really well-made movie. Blumhouse Productions put out both this and the FNAF movie, as well as Get Out, and I'm slowly becoming a fan of their brand of unsettling but not quite horror horror by having the majority of these scenes take place in normal, everyday locations rather than a rundown old mansion or a torture dungeon or whatever, and then creating a premise based on something that should be innocent. It makes everything more real for me when it becomes not so innocent and ergo more terrifying. Mithrigan is terrifying. Some of the deaths are fucking insane. And the way this actress moves and speaks is just the right amount of humanness that lands right in the deepest crevice of the uncanny valley. I love it. 8 out of 10. So I've never played a single game of D&D in my life, and they never actually reference the name in the movie. Not that I wanted them to. I think I would die of cringe if they said like, "Oh no, we're in a dungeon, and there's a dragon, run!" So as far as I'm concerned, this is a random collection of characters in a random place doing random things. And it was awesome. As much as its story and characters are suspiciously similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, even down to the main guy's name, this was still a hilarious romp of a movie. The humor is like top tier Marvel, and the world building is like top tier Harry Potter. There's so many fun concepts here that are used to their fullest potential, which results in scene after scene of expectation subverting antics that I couldn't get enough of. 8 out of 10. Nimona. This movie surprised me in a lot of ways. I wasn't prepared for how sick the animation would look. I wasn't prepared for how delightfully devious and mischievous the title character would be. I wasn't prepared for actual gay characters. I don't know why I said it like that. What the hell? Gay people exist? I wasn't prepared for such an emotionally impactful climax. I wasn't prepared for Eugene to be in this movie. What the hell? I love that guy. I had so much fun with Nimona. This movie made me very happy. Not only because it's a good-ass movie, but because it's a giant fuck you to Disney. The movie itself has themes of fighting the power and being able to freely express your true self. And then there's the beautiful irony that Disney shut down the studio that was going to make this movie, only for it to get picked up again and blow almost all of Disney's recent bullshit out of the water. So yeah, totally metal movie. 9 out of 10. That's right, it's Wonka. And as it turns out, Timothée Chalamet wasn't nearly as much of a cringe fest as I thought he'd be. Hell, I barely even noticed when he said the line that we all heard.
Nope, scratch that. Reverse it.
And I do have to say, I think Timmy was the weakest part of this movie, but he was still good. So basically, it's a fantastic movie. Now, the biggest surprise for me here was how much I liked the soundtrack. I didn't know they still made good movie musicals. Seriously though, I can't remember the last time I liked every single song in a musical soundtrack since, I don't know, The Lion King? Because even with like Encanto or Tick Tick Boom or The Little Mermaid, there's always at least one song that doesn't quite vibe with me. But all of these songs are bangers, dude. Hatful of Dreams is an excellent opener with a cheery tempo and catchy melody to set the tone. The music, the lyrics, and especially the choreo in You've Never Had Chocolate Like This are a whole lot of fun. The repetition, minor key elements, and the loud, off-key piano banging in Scrub Scrub make it a great number for the dejected indentured servants. But you know, kid-friendly indentured servitude. Sweet Tooth is a really fun villain number with its tango into Broadway showstopper vibe. The harmony in For a Moment is super uplifting, and I especially love Willie's attempts to make stuff rhyme with noodle, because it's a great way of showing us how he can twist any situation and find a silver lining. Hugh Grant doing Oompa Loompa was just funny. The lyrics in A World of Your Own are so whimsical, I actually do feel transported to another world. And of course we can't forget Pure Imagination. That one was just icing on the cake, honestly. And then like the writing, cinematography, acting, everything is just is so good. I quieted up, I listened down, and I loved it. Actually, I remembered just now, recording this, that the director of this movie also directed Paddington, so that makes sense. It's got the same level of super creative filmmaking, whimsical world building, and quirky British humor. And then they throw in all these fun little details that make it so enjoyable. Like when the lyric changes as Wonka slowly loses all of his money over the course of the opening scene. All the funny ways they find to rhyme words with chocolate. The line where Scrubbit and Bleacher break the tempo for a second to list off a bunch of details of the contract. It's just, it's clever, and I like it. It just so perfectly honors the magical world of Roald Dahl. I can only really describe this movie as a big, warm hug, but for like, your soul. Does that make sense? Anyway, 9 out of 10. So I saw Barbie. You know, lots of you know, hot dolls, very attractive dolls, you know? Big, you know, plastic boobs? Plastic boobs? Anyone? No, you know what? I got the gig 10 days ago. You want a perfect YouTube video? Man, shut up. Okay, that's enough beating around the bush. This movie popped the shame I was halfway across the world and disconnected from social media when the whole Barbenheimer thing was popping off, but the movie goes hard nonetheless. It's kind of insane how it manages to please Barbie fans, Barbie haters, and people who don't give a shit about Barbie all at once. Because no, I don't care who you are, you know what Barbie is. Now, when I first heard there was gonna be a Barbie movie in live action, my mind immediately went to those, like, animated pieces of shit where Barbie plays Rapunzel or something. So, you know, thank God they didn't do that. The writers were clearly aware of the cultural impact Barbie has had and wrote the script accordingly, rather than trying to pretend Barbie is perfect and stuff. You know, come to think of it, the last time we got a movie that nailed meta humor like this was the Lego Movie, which also stars Will Ferrell as an evil CEO, go figure. But just like the Lego Movie, there is an important and socially relevant message behind the feature-length toy advertisement. The absurd imagery and comedic performances make you laugh, then the movie twists its batshit premise into something real, something meaningful. And then you love it so much that you buy a toy, buy a Barbie, buy one now. And also, can we talk about this movie's soundtrack? It's fucking stacked, dude. Originals from Lizzo, Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, Nicki Minaj, Ice Spice, Charlie XCX, and of course the banger, I'm Just Ken. Oh my god, that song did not need to be so good. The only bad thing is that now everyone is gonna think I know the Indigo Girls from this movie. I was bumping Closer to Fine long before Barbie showed up, okay? I've been there since day one. Okay, maybe the only reason I knew them is from my mom, but still. I drank from the children, I looked to the... Wait. Anyway, this movie is just a treat, and you probably already knew that. It is absolutely filled with comedy gold. Also, do you guys think this movie breaks the record for most times the name of the movie is said in the movie? Because I actually think it might be, but I'm sure not gonna count. Peter Griffin would have a field day with this movie, though.
Hi, Barbie!
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
10 out of 10.
No sleep till!
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Rocket, you little rascal, we finally get to see what you're all about. Now, Rocket's origin is definitely something I've wondered about for the last 2 movies, so it was great to finally get that. But this movie is also just the only super good thing Marvel has put out in a while. The Guardians movies have this intangible vibe to them that make me completely forget that they exist in the same universe as the Avengers and stuff, which definitely works in the movie's favor. It's actually kind of unbelievable that they let James Gunn do what he wanted and make a movie that doesn't further the MCU superplot at all. It only furthers the character arcs of this team of space randos. And in that way, the movie endears you to its characters that much more. Of course, then we have the set pieces, the orgoscope, Counter-Earth, fucking sick-ass hallway fight in one continuous camera shot with the Beastie Boys in the background. Yes, the soundtrack is on point as usual. Drax and Manus are the funniest characters of all time as usual. Vin Diesel earns an easy paycheck as usual. The movie does a great job of balancing its time with each and every character, making sure they all get the development they need. And it all circles back to the central theme of accepting the past and moving forward. It's just such a perfect story and a perfect send-off to what I consider Marvel's best franchise. 10 out of 10. And I do believe that brings us up to number 1, folks. What could it possibly be? Ooh. Let's do this one last time. Well, who could have seen this coming? The sequel to one of the most spectacularly subversive animated movies of the last decade is good? No, it's more than good. This movie is legitimately heart-pounding to watch. Not even just during the action sequences either. Just every single frame. It's a goddamn work of art. They're still somehow pushing the envelope with the style. I mean, look with your eyeballs. The colors are bold. The lighting is powerful. The insane cinematography and the even more insane score heightened the adrenaline pumping in my veins to dangerous levels. And the animators were rushed on this? I'm almost afraid to see what it would have looked like had they been given more time, because it might be so incredible I would die. Like, it is seriously unreal how this movie kicks you in the balls at every turn, like, oh, you thought you knew what you were getting into, huh? That's cute. Think again, you piece of shit. Boom, visually distinct and gorgeous version of New York. Boom, ominous scribbly look for Spot. Boom, newspaper cutout style for Hobie. Boom, Indian New York. Boom, spider bat cave. Boom, space elevator. Boom, cliffhanger. Fucking mic drop, dude. Oh my god. I'm literally dying. I'm passing away as we speak. Every creative choice, each ounce of care poured into every second, serves always to enhance and never to overshadow the movie's character moments. The movie makes us feel all of the loud, fast-paced insanity that Miles feels navigating his new life, and when it's not insanity, it's reflection, which the framing and dynamic lighting still complement beautifully. I actually can't get over how cool the aesthetic got. Sorry, I'm chewing on airheads now. How do you even begin to animate like this? It's not fair. It's not fair. So in conclusion, the movie was okay. 10 out of 10. And that's it. 2023 has been real. It's not like I expected anything to top Everything Everywhere All at Once in terms of cinematic genius and creative inspiration. Although this is the 3rd year in a row where a multiverse movie has topped my list, so I'm not doing it on purpose, I swear. I'm just glad that Hollywood is not yet completely dead and that creative, original ideas are still being supported and given all the attention they deserve. Just maybe not always for me, because busy. I just keep forgetting to go see stuff and then end up never watching it ever. That was unfortunately the case for the new Ninja Turtles, new Indiana Jones, Next Goal Wins, The Boys in the Boat, Wish, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Some of the year's most influential releases that tragically I missed. But like I said, I have to just make this video now. So if you ever want to know where some of those other movies place, I'll update my 2023 rank list on Letterboxd. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this one. If you enjoyed, be sure to do all the things that make YouTube show this to more... Oh my god. Be sure to do all the things that make YouTube show this to more people. And if you don't, of course, I will, unfortunately, have to beat you off so hard. See ya.